Hey, okay, so
We're
there it
live!
is.
Holy shit.
Trevor
Yeah.
figured out how to work his shit.
I
We're
can
not
work
fucking
this shit.
family friendly anymore.
No, we're not. Okay.
I pissed on your grave.
I'm
That makes no sense. What the hell?
Okay.
Damn it, John.
This
We're
is
a minute in, you've already fucked up.
this is how we're gonna start this, huh?
John, please.
All
Is
right.
it too late to leave the Biasholes? Is that
You're
that
too
an option?
Hey,
business.
it's the Biasholes doing a podcast.
You're right. So I
I
guess
was
we
trying
should.
for an energetic intro for everyone to chime in on, but way to go, guys. 10
Well,
out of 10.
Sorry.
Would introduce again.
Okay.
Hashtag whoops.
So should we introduce ourselves then?
Yeah,
Yes, we
Jacob, why don't
should.
you read a boring fact to us? That can be your intro.
Yes, go
Fuck
for
off. My facts are exciting.
it. Tell us who you are, Jacob.
My name is Jacob. I make videos and play games and sometimes have opinions. That's about it. I was really hoping someone else would go first, so I would have a template to go off of, but nobody. You threw me in the fire first. So
Well,
You could've-
there's our
Alright.
template. All right.
There's
There's
a
our
template.
so.
I basically described every one of us, so I don't know where you guys can go next, but go for it.
Okay. I guess I'll introduce myself next. I am Jackson. I like video games, and I wish I'd used the bathroom before I started this.
Okay.
Great.
John, you want to go?
Hi, I'm John. My name is also Tom. Oh, wait, no.
What?
I'm supposed to be their low-life editor, but they decided to edit their own videos. That was the only reason I was brought on here, too. I was supposed to be your editor.
Well,
But
I mean,
now we're broadcasting it live.
right. And by the way, my name is Trevor, and I'm a student filmmaker, and I am an asshole, I guess.
A bye, asshole.
Well, that
Guys, the way you say that makes it sound like you're people
I'm
who
an asshole.
genetically have two assholes. Like, that's the
Yeah.
way we're saying it.
well, the idea that I get of it, I mean, okay, so I thought of the original name, and you guys liked it,
Right, yes.
But now it kind of the
I
gripe
don't
that I have about
remember
it.
you thinking of that exclusively. I was under the
Yes, you
impression
did.
that it was something we'd come together under right now.
Yeah,
Well,
well, it's mainly Trevor's genius idea.
I'm gonna hold back.
Well, the thing is, I mean, the thing that I have the problem with is that it sounds like it's bisexual asshole.
We
Well,
could be
that's
so
what it's
big in
more or
the
less-
LGBTQ community.
I don't understand why you keep calling it bi assholes because it's bias hole.
Yeah.
How do you
that's-
say, Jackson?
It's
Bias
bias.
Bias hole.
Yeah.
Okay,
Not
so from now
bi
on,
asshole.
from now on, if there's any dispute of how we say our name, we just go back to podcast number 1 and be like, we had this dispute. Here you
Right.
go.
Right. Exactly.
So
Yeah.
backstory for that name is basically long a time ago, like what, 2-3 years
I
at
think it
this
was before
point?
John was even born, right?
Yeah,
Right.
John was still in his fetusy stage, also known as a different high school than us, like a fucking nerd.
I think he was into MLP at the time, just in the fetus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like just a
totally.
totally different world. Anyway.
We're not getting into that, John, Jacob.
Heimerschmidt.
Fuck.
This
This is
is
gonna be a long podcast.
this is
yeah,
going well.
something like that. Basically, we decided we have opinions on things, and we're kind of assholes about our opinions. So, what better name would we have?
Right. Okay. So
So, opinion butt heads it is,
yes.
or
That's-
pinheads for short.
No. Okay. we're gonna stick with bias holes. By the way, I said it right.
I swore he just said bye, assholes.
No.
No.
Bias
No,
holes.
that's the way I always fuck it up and say it like that.
Okay.
It's not how
Yeah,
it's said.
Jacob,
Moving
you fuck
on.
a lot of things up.
I'm working on it.
Moving on. We have a little bit of a structure to this, but it's kind of going to be more like a conversation. So here we go. Top of the list of things that we want to talk about is speedruns and tool-assisted speedruns. And
I don't speedrun or tool assist, so I have no idea what the fuck
Well, a
this
lot of
is,
people don't
so
speedrun, so watch
enlighten
speedrunning
me.
events, man.
Yeah. Okay, so John, I guess you're the only person I have not talked to about this, and I don't know about the rest of you guys. What do you think of speedruns, John?
Well, my personal opinion, I guess they can be impressive. It shows how well you've memorized a video game and how fast you can do it.
Okay, but it's not your taste.
Not my taste, personally.
Okay, what about the rest of you guys then?
They turned me on.
Sexually.
No, but in all honesty, I mean, I knew about speedruns and Awesome Games Done Quick, the events, which is number one. I love whenever gamers come together and do something not only productive for the gaming community, but also do something productive as far as charity-wise. You see that with Rooster Teeth doing the Extra Life. I just love whenever gamers come together to give back to the world and be like, hey, you think we're a bunch of lazy people in a basement? Here's some proof that we're not. And as
So let's
well
sit in our
as that-
basement for hours and practice a game until we're good at it.
Exactly. But there's also I love the idea of taking a game, which is essentially a program, and finding the utmost fastest way to complete it. And the crazy thing as well is, unlike a lot of competitive game scenes you see out there, where there's a lot of disrespect and hate and negative energy coming out, with speedruns, it's super crazy how even record holders are super duper encouraging of other people beating their records and of other people finding faster ways to complete games. And so I think it is a crazy, awesome way to explore games, and I have the utmost appreciation for it, even though I suck at it.
I think.
All right. Yeah, I totally agree. Continue, John.
What I was about to take off what Jacob said. God.
Oh,
God,
wow.
motherfucker.
About.
Hey, you make the same mistake, so...
About them
No, I don't, Trevor.
Okay, I feel like I'm the only one who has not messed up anybody's name.
Oh,
Anyways,
yeah?
back to what I was
Timmy?
saying.
What were
About
you saying,
what
John?
Jacob said about them encouraging them to get faster times. I think it's their excuse to try and come up with an even faster time than that faster time is why they want that.
Wait.
Well, yeah, but you can, if you look at like the competitive, here's the storm thing. It's not like one person versus one person. You know what I mean? Or it's not like a team versus a team. It's like everybody is trying to figure out the fastest way to complete this program.
Right. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of community kind of involvement rather than
And
it's
Trevor,
me
I've
versus
been meaning
you.
to ask, is tool-assisted speedrun a rather new thing? Because I have heard of speedruns a lot, but it's only that you brought to my attention the tool-assisted speedrun and what exactly that is.
Okay, I would love to talk about tool-assisted speedruns, but I have not heard Jackson's opinion yet.
Speedrunning is for people who like games and have nothing better to do.
Okay, so...
I'm kidding. I highly respect the speedruns that I have seen bits and pieces of, because it clearly is not something that's simple to do. It's like
It's not
down to literally split seconds of timing, and sometimes even going too fast will fuck people over.
Have you seen the new Mario Makers levels? The ones that are like
Yes.
rage levels? It's kind of like that, only you have to do it really fast.
Right. And I think we're all sort of in agreement there, right? That speedruns are commendable things that people do. They race
no doubt,
charity.
no doubt.
Yeah. Okay. So cool.
Nothing I would personally do myself, though.
Right. And
We
so
all know you wouldn't personally do yourself.
right. Well, I don't know. I feel like you guys might. I don't know. Jackson, you like Halo a lot, so I feel like you could probably speedrun a Halo game.
Here's the thing about speedrunning Halo. It doesn't lend itself too well to it, because it doesn't have, like, single moments. The only thing I could think of that really does lend itself well to speedrunning is the final mission of Halo 1, where you're basically you've got, like, 3 to 4 minutes to go a kilometer and a half
I was
Yeah.
so upset with
down
that.
the back of the spaceship.
Yeah. Well,
And that has, like, a lot of different paths you can take, but there's clearly, like, the best route, and it comes down to a lot of the Warthog physics. And there's never really been anything like that in the game since then.
But the thing that I'm talking about is how the game works very well, like on a deep level, I think, right? Or at least deeper than a regular player who would just pick it up and play.
I would like to think a little bit. I wouldn't say I'm an expert.
Okay, but the thing
Like
is,
just-
you have a better idea of how sharp a vehicle can turn and certain things like that that would definitely lend you more towards doing a speed run.
Yeah, I
mean,
guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
you keep
that's
asking
the
me these
point.
questions, and I keep kind of like turning it down, and you keep trying to make me say yes.
Well, the thing is, I feel like you could do a speed run if you put your mind to it.
If I put my mind to it, yeah, but it wouldn't be anything exceptional. There are people that would clearly do better because they can actually do glitches to get out of the map and just go beeline to the end of the level. Stuff that I can't do. I just don't have the skill, the talent, or the controller set up to do.
There's several
Alright,
cool
fine.
there's several cool mechanics as well, like you see in Legend of Zelda games, where people running forward is not actually the fastest way to move. Oftentimes,
Like jumping sideways, isn't
right,
it?
jumping to the side or doing a roll or doing a back dash, doing something like that is actually a faster form of movement. So runners had determined how to move like that, and also determine what's going on around them, which is crazy. So I love that exploitation of game mechanics that weren't meant to be used that way in like a super brilliant, awesome expose.
Right, exactly. And I think that sort of morphs its way into the next topic that I want to talk about, which gets me more excited than speedruns, which is tool-assisted. Not quite. Tool-assisted speedruns, also known as a TAS or TAS, I guess. So, are you guys familiar with what a TAS is?
No.
You kind of showed me.
So
Yeah.
from what I've seen, it's some sort of external program that helps you complete the game.
Okay, so Jacob is kind of like on the right track. Basically, a tool-assisted speedrun is something that is not actually played by a person, but it's actually, I guess you could think of it as being played by a computer that was programmed by a person. So
Okay.
it is a way to get the game speedrun as fast as possible, even if it's not a human playing the game, right? So usually the way you do this is you feed button inputs into a computer to be played back, like I'm doing air quotes here, but you can't see me, to be played back so that when the computer starts up the game, it feeds the controller inputs into the game and it plays the game completely, like accurately and as fast as possible. Like if a human had perfect reflexes, they could do a TAS, but humans don't have perfect reflexes. So the only things that can do TASs are robots, computers. I am not explaining
it's
this
sort
well.
of
You're a robot.
No, you're fine. So like it's sort of like when I had a NES when I was a kid, and because my brother was 10 years older than me, didn't want to play it anymore, I had a little Rob the Robot machine, and so it would actually put spinning discs onto certain buttons in correspondence to what I was doing, and so it's sort of as if it's kind of a robot playing it, almost, not
Yeah.
quite, but sort of.
No, it is a robot playing it. That's really kind of what it is. And what's funny is that usually, like at these marathons, when they have TaskBot play through a game, they don't play it on an emulator. They have to play it on the actual console. So they actually made a Rob the Robot, decoration kind of thing that plugs in to the controller slot in the machine, and it plays the game like actually on the console. I don't know, it's cool. Anyway, so
I mean, the whole point of that was just so they could sell it in toy stores.
oh yeah, if you want to talk about Rob, yeah, I mean that's
The whole
his
point of Rob
purpose.
was because video game crash of '83
right.
and the fall of Atari and stuff like that.
Anyway, so John, do you get what I'm saying here?
Yeah,
Because,
I get it now.
all right, so the computer plays the game, and it can play the game perfectly, right? And so that's kind of the purpose of a TAS. Now, people have been able to find glitches and exploits in games with TAS runs that have made speed runs faster. So, like in The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, it's kind of one of the famous speedrunning games. They found like a glitch that would make you warp from one place to another if you put in the right button inputs, and Link was standing in a certain position for a certain amount of time, and so they found that using a TAS, like running through different ways to try to do something faster, and then they were able to actually do that with humans. It was one of the glitches that was possible with a human person, with an actual controller, and so that's kind of the interesting thing about TAS runs that have worked their way into speedruns. So, any questions or comments so far? Because I feel like this is a one-sided conversation.
It's pretty one-sided just because I don't think any of us are really too far into the speedrunning world, except maybe Jacob, and you're in a realm that he's not too big into.
I want more of a clarification on something.
Yeah.
If it's not possible for a human to do it, and the TAS can do it, does it still count as a speed run?
Well, yeah. The thing is, that's the whole
besides
point.
Perfect reflexes, if that glitch wasn't possible to be done by a human, would they count
it? So that's the whole reason that they separate it into categories of speedruns and tool-assisted speedruns.
Okay.
Because that was actually a point of confusion for a while. There was this video somebody posted on the internet a while ago, when TASs first started being a thing, of Super Mario Bros. 3, I think. There was a guy who was able to get infinite, or not infinite, but a lot of one-ups on a stage by jumping on all these cannonballs, and it looked like it was impossible for a human to do, and he labeled it as a speedrunning technique or something, and so everybody got all up in arms because they could easily tell, a human can't do this. And so from that point on, it was always okay, guys, if you're doing a tool-assisted speedrun, then you have to label it as TAS. So it sort of became its own separate genre, separate thing, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, TAS speedruns, I think, are the most amazing thing ever in my world right now.
It's just crack cocaine.
It's like speedrunner on crack. Of course, if a speedrunner is on crack, they wouldn't be able to run a game as well. But whatever.
You don't know.
What?
They help their reflexes.
Maybe. I doubt it.
Their reflexes, but they lose their attention span.
Right, exactly.
Attention span. What?
Anyway.
Jackson, why does your nose have white powder on it?
Shut up.
Jackson, do we need to have an intervention?
You're an intervention.
Okay. So, John, I'm actually going to tell you about something that is going to blow your mind, maybe.
The other two of us are just going to sit here in silence.
Well, yeah. So, Jacob...
I've been in a while.
Yeah, he left for a second, I think. Anyway.
Fuck off. Why does he do this?
He's very
He
professional.
always abandons us at the most critical points.
I know, right?
He does this far too often. I'm kind of annoyed by it, but never enough to kick him out of the band.
Yeah, he's fine. Anyway.
He's what gives our video half the comedy.
Alright, so John, something interesting happened. By the way, do you know what Games Done Quick is?
No.
Okay, so...
It's basically a convention where speedrunners gather to show off speedruns live.
Exactly, and they raise charity doing it by broadcasting it on Twitch and doing a whole bunch of other stuff. And just like this last this marathon that they just did, they raised over $1 million, and it was amazing. So anyway, where was I going with that? I was talking about
blowing my mind. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah. Okay, so tool-assisted speedruns have become so advanced now. They've been able to do some crazy shit. First, you got to see these videos after I describe them to you, because they are absolutely amazing to watch. So first things first. Back in 2012 or 2013 or something, somebody made a tool-assisted speedrun of Super Mario World, in which they were able to, after doing a certain amount of inputs and properly jumping on certain things in the right times, they were able to warp to the credits sequence, and it was like a 3 to 5 minute thing. They didn't even finish the first level. They just put in the inputs, and then it warped to the credits, and that was the speed run. And that was like amazing, and everybody was like mind blown, right? But that's just the first thing in this series of events. After that, this guy called Seth Bling, he's like popular for making Minecraft videos on YouTube.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah. So Seth Bling, he like reads the notes of the guy who created this TAS in which you warp to the credits in Super Mario World, and he was able to do an actual human speed run doing the same thing. He was able to warp to the credits, and it was like a 5-minute. It was crazy, and everybody thought this guy had cheated because like there's no way a human can do that, but he didn't. And since then, like the run for Super Mario World has gone from being like 20 minutes to 10 minutes to 3 minutes, and it was amazing. I remember when they uploaded the video because it was like, whoa, dude, that's insane. Okay, but that's not even the most impressive thing. So we keep going through time, and at Games Done Quick, they did something kind of amazing, more spectacular than that. They did something very similar. So basically what happens when you execute this glitch in the game where you warp to the credits is you are writing new code into the game by jumping on shells and kicking them off screen or kicking them up into the air or something, and by doing certain things you can write new code into the game without the game knowing it, and then you execute a glitch that says, okay, now execute this bit of code that I just wrote for you.
Order 66.
Say what?
Bad Star Wars reference.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I didn't get it. Am I boring you, by the way? I hope I'm not.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
No, Jackson is bored.
I feel like I'm going to fall asleep listening to you nerd out about your silly little things.
I'm sorry. Please let me get to the end of the story, and I'll let you nerd out as much as you want. Okay, cool. So,
Don't worry, I'll hack into his computer and mute his mic.
so that's basically how the glitch works, right?
Okay.
Okay, so at this speedrun live, they hooked up a robot to an NES or an SNES, and they had it start doing a TAS of Super Mario World, but it looked a little bit different than the one that Seth Bling did or the TAS before it. What happened was it started writing new code to the game, and then the screen went black. The glitch was executed, and the screen went black, and everybody like sat there in confusion for a second, and then on the screen there showed up a menu that was never in the game to begin with, and it said Pong as a first selection, Snake as the second selection, and The End as the third selection. And what it was a game of Pong, which if you selected that thing, you would be able to play Pong within Super Mario World, a game that was never there, never in the code. They wrote it into the code with just button inputs. There was a game of Snake, which was the exact same, it was the game of Snake written into the code by the button inputs, and then there was The End, which was the ending screen of the game. And it's amazing, I tell you. The reaction from the audience and from the chat, they were all just like, what just happened?
But does that make it legit, or?
What do you mean?
Like, does that qualify as cheating?
Well, the thing is, they weren't trying to beat the game. They were trying to show off what they can do with just putting button inputs into the controller, right?
I guess.
Well, it's amazing, is what I'm trying to get across, is that they were able to program a computer to play a game on the actual console and then reprogram that game while it's running, for God's sake, and place an entirely different game with the cartridge still in the machine. It blows my mind. Say what?
Not just one game, but 2 games.
That's right, 2 games, and it blows my mind. And the thing is, when they actually demonstrate this thing, they talked about, oh, we wanted to program the Super Mario Brothers, the original NES game, into this game. It turned out there was a technical difficulty or whatever, so they couldn't do it, which was a shame. But anyway, so that happened, and it blew everybody away. They were all at first like what just happened? They had no idea even what happened. Anyway, okay. So 1 year later, game's done quick. They do it again, right? They boot up Super Mario World and they put the TAS computer bot right in front of it, and they say, okay, we're gonna do a special tool-assisted speedrun, and we're not gonna try to beat the game. We're gonna reprogram something into it. And what do? They go through
Program the Rickroll in.
Not quite. So they play the game, and the computer starts playing the game, and it does all this glitchy stuff, and the screen goes black, and like after a few seconds, nobody's expecting this. Super Mario Brothers from the NES, an entire NES game shows up on the screen while a Super Nintendo is running. So they reprogrammed Super Mario Brothers from the NES onto Super Mario World for the SNES, and the computer played through the first level of the game. And oh my god, if that didn't blow people's minds, I don't know what did.
Playing through the entire game.
Well, I mean, sure, whatever. But the thing is, they were able to put a bigger game within Super Mario World. And oh my god, okay, so is this interesting to you? I gotta know.
Okay, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Would not wait. I don't want to say waste the time. It's more. I'll say spend the time trying to figure this out because I'm not that smart.
Well, the thing is, like...
No one is this smart. It's clearly an AI or an alien.
Oh, God.
The thing is, like, I am able to understand how they did it, and the thing is, not many people are willing to just, look at the notes that these people make for how they do this when it's really pretty simple concepts, right? I don't know. I feel like a lot of people could be doing this kind of stuff, but they aren't, which is amazing. Anyway.
Anyways.
And so just this last Game's Done Quick, they did some other stuff with TAS speedruns, and it was, I gotta tell you, there's nothing better than a really good tool-assisted speedrun. Anyway, so that's my topic. That is what I wanted to talk about, and I talked way too much. There was like no conversation here.
Yeah. Well, you're
the
expert in this scenario more than any of us.
Well, I wouldn't call myself an expert because I don't actually do this stuff. I just really like it. Anyway.
That's why I said among us, you are the expert.
Okay, sure. Whatever. So what's next?
It says semi-exclusive game titles is our next.
I have no idea what that means. I can kind of guess about that, like how Rise of the Tomb Raider was initially an Xbox One exclusive, and then was time delayed to come to PC and PS4. Actually, I could be wrong. It might have been a PC at launch, and PS4 was the only delayed one. But either way, is that what that means?
This is something that Jacob wrote then.
Fuck
Oh,
you,
shit.
Jacob.
The one fucker who goes away.
Yeah, well, he'll be back, I'm sure. Anyway, here's my guess as to what semi-exclusive game titles are. Game titles that start as an exclusive and then get ported to another system or PC, but it's like a really shitty quality port. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, I've heard someone talk about this. I think it was like GTA 4 was a shitty port over from a console, the console it was originally made on. And when they ported it over to PC, it was like so shit.
Oh, well, I had no idea about that. I never played GTA.
He's a Saints Row person.
I'm not, actually. I never played Saints Row.
You need to play at least one of those.
Oh, okay.
Saints Row is fun. I really enjoy it. I think that honestly, I think it's significantly better than Grand Theft Auto, but that's because Grand Theft Auto, I feel like I'm playing a boat and not a person.
You don't like the controls then? Is that it?
It's not necessarily the controls; it's the responsiveness of the player character.
Oh, okay.
It feels like it's just too inaccurate.
Yeah.
You don't feel like you're in control. You feel like you're controlling.
Okay, so
it breaks a lot of immersion.
I think I understand what you're saying because I've seen Grand Theft Auto gameplay videos, and I think the way the character controller works in that game is there's like an IK rig for the feet so that they land on the ground properly, and they don't like clip through like a slanted slope. So in order to make that work, the human in that game that you're playing as has to react more slowly so that the feet land in the right place, and it's an aesthetic thing. I think.
Except when you drop from one-story building, you topple over and tumble. It's hilarious.
Yeah. I think it's partially due to ragdoll physics, or I might be wrong. I don't know.
Whatever it is, I don't feel like I'm controlling the player when I don't feel like I'm in control, basically.
Okay.
A lot of game controls should feel like you are the player, and a part of immersion is in controls. GTA, it's fun, but I hesitate to call the controls good. I'd hesitate to call them even decent.
Have you played Mega Man?
No.
Which one?
I mean, just like any of the original NES Mega Mans.
No.
Nope.
Okay. You will love the controls in those games, I think, because it is very much your input equals what will happen on the screen.
Right. To be fair, I'm not that big of a side scroller.
Well,
Yeah.
I definitely think it's worth a try for you because it is definitely like the control scheme that I think you like. Anyway.
Yeah, I'll look into it. It's why I play a lot of first-person shooters, because I feel like my input does exactly what I want it to do.
Yeah, in first-person shooters, that's generally the case.
But GTA has broken that, because even in first person, you still are basically a boat instead of a human being.
It's not lag, is it?
No, it's not lag. It's legitimate. Like, your input is not always what comes out. It's exaggerated a bit.
Yeah.
It takes a while for you to start moving. It takes a while for you to stop moving. And it's by a while, that means fractions of a second, but it's noticeable.
Yeah.
I feel what he's talking about now. Thinking about it, I do notice it.
You like start running, like there's an acceleration to it. Is that what you mean?
There is an acceleration to it. And I guess that in some cases that's realistic, but I'm not a 400-pound man. I'm supposedly like a 200-pound guy who's in good physical shape. I shouldn't take 5 seconds to get to a good run. And it's also a part of it is like in first person, the look controls are really wonky because it has a lot of auto centering, which I don't care for.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. And I think I know where you're coming from with the it like takes 5 seconds to start running. I don't think it takes 5 seconds, but I know
it's not. I'm exaggerating, just like the game.
Yeah, because
got him.
But I totally get what you're saying because like there are certain games that try to like if a game is programmed really badly, there won't be any acceleration in movement, I think. But if they have some sense, they will put acceleration to movement in. But if it's too much, it just feels like super slidey, right?
Right. Which is a lot of GTA. It's very slidey.
Yeah. And that's probably why we will never do a GTA series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sounded interesting at first, but the more I play it, the less I like it.
Yeah. But Saints Row isn't like that then, I guess.
Saints Row, I wouldn't say it's not completely like that, but it definitely is a lot tighter. The biggest thing is when you turn around in the third person in Saints Row, you just face that direction immediately. In GTA, your character kind of does a big wheel around. Yeah. They have to go around a certain radius to turn a direction rather than rotating. In first person, you rotate as if you would be in first person.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you a game that you wouldn't like is Shadow of the Colossus, because that game is all about the aesthetics. Well, I guess I wouldn't say all about the aesthetics because it's got great gameplay, but it definitely favors aesthetics in a lot of areas.
I heard the ending's pretty depressing, though.
That game in general is very good, and I think you should play it, John, if you haven't already.
What console or system was it?
It was a GameCube game, wasn't it?
No, it was PS2. It was PS2.
That explains why
They're
I
the
have
same thing.
Around the same time area, yeah, same
Yeah,
thing.
no, fuck it. Why not?
Right, right.
Nintendo, Sony, they're both from Japan.
Exactly, exactly.
Except one killed Kojima and the other one just kind of doesn't care.
Oh,
Fucking got him.
that
Fucking
just
segued.
that got dark. Okay, okay.
I hear laughing very distantly.
Oh, sorry, I leaned back to laugh.
I
How
thought you were
dare
talking
you.
about Jacob for a second. I was like, is he back? Is he taunting us?
He's taunting us. He's laughing, but he's
From the dead.
Right. Okay,
not.
so
Marley killed him.
I'm gonna skip this next thing that we have here, and I'm gonna go straight to Big Bang Theory and why it sucks.
Well, we were about to talk about something else, specifically Kojima, and our thoughts on that.
Oh, okay. I really didn't want to linger on that, but I suppose
Why not?
it's-
Why not? It's topical, and it's still relevant, even though it happened months ago.
All right.
Okay,
all
you'll
right.
have to remind me who exactly is Kojima.
Okay. So
I just
he
want to make sure I'm thinking of the right people.
he was a Nintendo executive,
Hindu.
Nintendo executive, and
Nintendo.
and he died. Was it right before or right
That's
after?
not Hideo Kojima. Kojima made fucking Metal Gear Solid.
What am I talking about? I was talking about Iwata. Oh gosh. Oh. That's an embarrassing mistake to make.
Yes, it is. I'm like, what the fuck are you on about? Kojima's not dead. He's fired.
Okay.
Who's ever editing this? Slap a big fail on top of the screen.
No one's editing this. This is just going to go up straight and raw and dirty.
Oh my god, that's gonna sound racist.
Just like Jacob's
It
sex
is.
life.
Oh.
Wait,
okay.
are you assuming that Jacob's sex life is racist?
It might be racist. He might say racist slurs as he. I'm not even gonna say anymore.
Of all the names that I could screw up, I screw up 2 Japanese names. Ugh.
You're a terrible human being.
Okay, we're moving on.
Worse. You could
We're
say the
gonna-
Japanese and the Chinese are the same people. That could
No.
That's about the only thing worse I could think of.
Well, thank God I didn't say that. Okay, moving on.
John thinks everyone from China is one human being.
I had no idea that Kojima was fired. Why is that?
No one knows to this day. Like, they haven't publicly said anything, but he's been removed from all promotion for Metal Gear Solid. His demo for a horror game that was going to be a continuation of Silent Hills was canceled, pulled from the Sony store, and is to this day on literally a missing game. Like, it's
Okay.
one of the few games in history that has been actively removed from existence, if possible.
The PT game.
Yeah, PT, which is short for Playable Test.
Huh. That's very interesting.
I've seen that. It was really, really like.
The
It's
only
one-
the only reason that it's still around is because people who downloaded it, it's not something they can automatically delete from a PlayStation.
Mhm.
But there was an unseen thing where the trial could technically expire on certain accounts. I don't know how. I don't remember. I just remember seeing the story.
Okay.
But anyway, regardless, it's impossible. Well, I wouldn't say it's impossible. I think people who previously downloaded it and deleted it, there is a very, very convoluted way to get it back again. But either way, it's still like a very famous and recent case of a completely extinct video game.
That is bizarre. That is huge.
And people still don't know what happened between
Kojima.
Kojima and I want to say it's Konami. It could be Capcom.
I think Konami made Metal Gear Solid. I'm gonna
Yeah,
Google this just to make
Wait.
sure.
It was Naughty Dog, wasn't it?
God damn it, Trevor! Naughty Dog's an American company.
Well, wait a second. Naughty Dog
It's
was
based
involved.
in Austin, Texas. I don't know that.
Konami made Metal Gear Solid.
Hold up, I have to look up Naughty Dog now because I
Hang
don't
on.
know if they're actually.
Naughty Dog gets to work on Metal Gear Solid 6.
What?
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at. I'm
Naughty
looking at.
They're
Dog
based in Santa Monica.
Founded in California.
God damn it!
Santa Monica.
I already said it.
Yep, sorry. I just brought up the information.
Yeah, I did too.
Okay, how did I get that in my head that Naughty Dog was somehow involved with Metal Gear?
Because you're a nutcase.
I was okay. Never mind then. I am all over the place. I don't know what's going on with me.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. No
No,
intervention is necessary. Thank you
I was
very
gonna make the
much.
joke that I made when you were gone, that your meeting that you were in was an AA meeting.
No, I was not in that kind of meeting.
Are you
Excuse me.
sure?
I am positive. I was in a meeting for being a cinematographer for film. Thank you very much.
I told you he's a nerd.
All right, so moving on. So Kojima, he's been talking about leaving Metal Gear Solid for years, right?
I don't think so.
No, like
Hold on.
since he
gonna
made
pull
the
up
second
Kojima.
one. No, since he made the second one, he's always said that he doesn't want to make a Metal Gear Solid, but he made 3 more, right?
No.
Not
Maybe.
willingly. They probably had a gun to his head saying, "Make this."
Make
Well-
us.
Well, I think what happened was that.
Well, he's been heavily involved and has been a big part of the promotion. I would assume that. I don't know. I don't know.
Here's what I think happened. This is what I remember hearing from somewhere. Is that Kojima was he made the first game. He kind of wanted to not make a second game, but he did it anyway. At the end, he kind of had like this symbolic thing where he was like, okay, we need to let somebody else make these games now, and he actually put that in the game somewhere as dialogue, like symbolically, metaphorically, and then like by the time they were making the third one, Kojima was not involved with it at first, but then he didn't want the series to get like corrupted or ruined or anything, so he helped out, and that happened for the fourth and fifth, I think.
Trevor, you're going to get blasted for being wrong about literally everything.
Excuse me, but I think that is what happened. I don't know, but
I'm looking at this, and there's nothing about him ever expressing interest in not continuing Metal Gear.
hang on. Continuing Metal Gear. We're gonna have a Wikipedia war here right now.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da.
I'll go
Alright.
try and find appropriate music.
We're not going to put music over this because we're not that kind of podcast.
Dun 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 dun. No.
We're gonna have to sift through tons of these articles to find out.
In the meantime, I shall serenade you with my sexy.
You know where I think I heard it? I think I heard it from a Matthew Matosis review.
Well, you're wrong.
Well, okay, fine. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But seriously, whoever's listening to this, look it up for yourself and figure out who's right, because don't be misinformed. Anyway, all
And the
right.
comment section literally just goes, "Ugh, homework."
I don't know if we'll have a comment section on this one. Oh, who
No.
knows? Who knows? Anyway, is that all we wanted to talk about for Kojima?
I mean, basically what happened. Basically, he was kicked out of Sony for no reason, and they still haven't given a good reason yet.
Are there like rumors or something? Or?
There's rumors, there's like
always
sleeping with people's wives, there's just creative differences, but ultimately the effect is the same. He's gone, and I think he's looking at starting his own production company.
That
But
would
he's lost
be.
all the rights to Metal Gear.
It would be amazing if he started his own thing. You know what? It would be really cool if he went to like Kickstarter or something and he did something like Platonic Games or.
I'm
guy
under the
who did
impression he
Castlevania.
did. I could
He
be
did?
wrong, though. I
He
don't know.
did.
I doubt
would-
it. I
it
doubt
would-
it. This isn't Shenmue again, Trevor.
It would be amazing if
This isn't Shenmue 3.
How many?
I
How
actually.
much money would you think he would if he did do a Kickstarter?
I'd say get a decent amount, but you gotta
Millions,
wonder
billions.
how many games that had relevance in the old days are still relevant. Like, you hear a lot about Metal Gear Solid 5, but ultimately it was very different from the formula. It's very much an open world game. That's almost
Yeah, I
like
heard
Far
that-
Cry.
How much new shit in it?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Kojima, if he went to Kickstarter, he'd get at least 3 million.
Yeah, but Kickstarters are kind of becoming overrated, and they're kind of becoming a love-hate thing because a lot of Kickstarters have been started that ultimately didn't deliver.
Well, yeah, but like we're talking about a Kickstarter game like Yooka-Laylee, which is in production right now and is doing amazingly and is definitely not going to get canceled of all things. Watch it get canceled now.
To be fair, like there is bias there in that you really like rare games, and you really like the Banjo-Kazooie series.
I do like Rareware games. I do. I love GoldenEye. I love Perfect Dark.
Perfect Dark sounds like one of those ridiculous games. I've seen gameplay of Perfect Dark. It looks really funny.
It is actually a very funny game.
To be fair, actually, I take it back because the gameplay I saw was legitimately like an intentionally corrupted emulator of the game.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fine.
Where people were like hanging around at odd angles. So I don't know too much about Perfect Dark. I think I watched some multiplayer gameplay of it, and it looked like it controlled fairly decently.
Yeah, the multiplayer for Perfect Dark is still like, it's like held up as like this holy grail of amazing multiplayer today.
I'll have to look this up
Yeah.
eventually.
Anyway,
So do you want to know an old game that I actually started playing not too long ago?
what's that?
It's a really old Star Wars game called Star Wars Dark Forces. Motherfucker. And basically,
I've never
Star
heard
Wars.
That sounds amazing.
Star Wars. God damn it, John. Star Wars Dark Forces is basically Doom, but Star Wars. And it's really interesting because it doesn't have a Z axis to look up and down. So learning that playstyle was very interesting.
Okay. Sounds all
But
right.
yeah, I mean, it's basically if you've ever played original Doom or at least seen it get played, or
I have.
old Wolfenstein,
Yeah.
that's what it is. You go around in these 3D environments and shoot 2D sprites with 2D sprites of guns.
That's interesting.
But it's still like it works very well, and also it's super chiptune Star Wars music, so it's really cool.
It's not. Is it an actual old game or is it like?
Yeah,
just a
it's
style?
from like the 90s.
Okay. Well,
You need to
wait,
do
the
all that?
90s.
Somewhere in there. You can buy it on Steam. I'm gonna look it up right now. Star Wars.
It's like early 90s, right? Early 90s.
I don't know exactly when it released.
Okay. Well, I mean,
It's
I'd be surprised.
$5.99 on Steam. Let me figure out.
I'd be
It was released in 1995.
1995. Jesus Christ, Nintendo 64 was out then.
Woo!
Yeah.
Go 64.
But it was in February 1995.
Uh,
And even then, it's just like it took time to develop. So yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting a little confused here. It seems like that would be like the graphics are behind the times, or maybe they're just on time.
I mean, the graphics can easily be behind the times, Trevor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The only time.
What's that? What was that werewolf game that came out recently that the graphics were like amazing? It was like 19 something.
The Order 1886 and how
Yeah,
the
that's
gameplay
it.
was shit, but the graphics were held up so high, and then the fucking console, the newest generation of best running consoles ever, had a lot of frame drops in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that looks like the graphics and the technology was incredible, like ahead of its time. It seemed like. I don't know. Just something fleeting thought came to mind.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have a PlayStation, so it's like that's not stuff that I often see.
Right.
Based on that previous comment, are you a PC elitist now?
Wait, me?
No, Jackson. He said like the new advanced consoles couldn't run it. Are you a PC elitist?
No, because I'm running a laptop that can barely run Left 4 Dead 2 on medium. Stuff.
Eh.
Well, you know what? Even though I don't consider myself an elitist for PC, I definitely think it's becoming a more popular system for
Yeah.
games.
I feel it's more easily accessible, and you don't have to pay like extra for the internet. That's a plus.
Exactly, right? The thing is, in a perfect world, in my mind, video game systems would all have some sort of knack to them that a PC couldn't have, right? Like Nintendo's doing this thing where they have something that cannot be done on any other system, which is why you have to buy their system, right? The Wii has motion controls, the Wii U has the gamepad, and their next system is going to have something totally different. So I don't know.
Basically, how many screens can we put on this console before people get pissed off?
Well, I mean, the thing is, it's not totally pointless, right? You can do amazing things with the touchscreen in your hands and the screen in front of you, things that you couldn't do on a computer.
You can, but it gets annoying looking back and forth.
Well, I mean,
For some
It's-
people see that as a chore, Trevor.
okay,
Whether
fine.
you like it or not.
I understand where you're coming from, but the thing is, it's all about the software, right?
Yes.
Sure?
it all depends on who makes the software for the system. And if the software is good, nobody's going to have a problem with looking up and down. I think you might. Okay, what am I trying to say?
You're right. Jackson's wrong.
No.
I
I think.
mean, that is correct. I'm always wrong.
Okay. Nintendo experiments, right? And I think
Yeah.
that's important. And
They
I
take
think
risks. I
they
think
do take
It's
risks.
never a bad thing to take risks, and I think to this day, Nintendo is one of the only consoles that understands that a console should have something more than just trying to be a PC.
Right. And I that's the ideal that I can get behind, and that's what I think consoles should be. And it's generally why I haven't bought, Xboxes or PS4s, because they don't generally have anything more to offer than being a game system with some exclusive titles.
Right. That said, I really like the exclusive titles that are part of those games, but I completely understand the mentality of this is basically trying to be a PC. I already have a PC with games that are close enough to these games, and then some that are exclusive that are better.
Right. Right.
Also, mine can run it at 100,000 frames per second instead of 60.
Yeah, bullshit.
mine runs at
Jackson.
1 billion per millisecond.
Pretty
I
soon,
run
Nice.
here-
You notice the difference.
frames per second.
I'm getting kind of concerned now because pretty soon we're going to start running out of computer power, right? Moore's law is about to stop working.
Yeah, transistors are basically, there's going to be a size limit.
Right.
But
And
games
so,
are going to try to constantly evolve and push the limits.
exactly.
And
I
they're
think
I mean, it's part of something that I'm actually studying in my nanotechnology class right now, which, by the way, is a shitty teacher, but that's personal stuff that I'm not going to get into. But
Oh,
anyway, it's basically like, how small can we get before we're basically messing with atoms? Because we're already close to that. The nanometer scale, if you were a nanometer long, you could pick up and move around atoms, providing you could break the bonds yourself.
right. Right. Exactly right. And
But-
have you heard that recently they figured out how to make a transistor with quantum particles?
I did not know that.
Yeah, it was very cool. I mean, it was only one transistor, but it worked, and that was spectacular. So anyway,
going back to my frame rate thing I made, there was an experiment done where they took one specific frame rate that was really high, and then took another frame rate and put it even higher than that, and had people look at it, like real professionals look at it,
yeah.
and they couldn't tell the difference.
Okay.
Where it gets too fast that it doesn't matter.
Okay, so about frame rate things, I don't know about your guys' parents, but my parents, they have a 60 hertz screen television in their living room, and
Yes.
they cannot tell the difference between a movie that is playing at 30 frames per second and a movie that's playing at 60 frames per second, and to me it's blatantly obvious.
Do you know
And-
what I'm bothered by? Because
That's why I used the word.
Jacob and I was over at Jacob's house at some point recently,
Okay.
and to put it simply, we watched Avengers: Age of Ultron, which is a movie that is designed to run at the cinematic 24 frames per second. However, you could tell that in the version we were watching, it wasn't making every single setup to be the exact frames per second that it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
So explosions were running at a higher frame rate because they were special effects than the overall movie, and it was really disconcerting to watch, and it's why I don't like where TVs are going,
That's
because
I
that's very
hate-
bizarre.
When I
Yeah.
watched Real Steel at Alex's house once, he has one of those nice TVs where it looks like it's like, yeah,
you
it looks
watched
like-
Real Steel.
yeah, I know. Anyway, it looked like it was real life, and it just bothered me. I'm like, no, this kid, I don't like it. It looked like the actors were right in front of me, and it just bugged me throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, I totally. Wait, what are you saying? I'm sorry.
He's basically saying that the frame rate was too high and the focus on it
It
was
just
too
looked
good.
just looked too good. Like,
Oh, okay.
too
Yeah.
realistic. It bugged me.
It hit Uncanny Valley.
It was hyper. Okay, it was hyper realism.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I can understand that. There's a certain point at which you boost the frame rate up enough It's somewhere between 30 and 60 frames per second. You boost it up enough, and eventually it looks like a soap opera.
Oh god.
Yeah. Anyway.
I've always wondered why soap operas look so difficult.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first of all, it's the frame rate.
Second of all, it's the bad writing.
Second of all, it's the bad writing. Third of all, it's the lighting.
Like you can definitely tell when you watch daytime television that something is always off with it.
Right. Third of all, it's the lighting, right? And I think the most.
I mean, a part of it is like it's blatantly obvious it's a set with the lighting.
And that too. But the most I've learned about lighting has actually been from looking at soap operas and being like, what is the difference here? Right? Mm-hmm. What is the difference between a big budget movie and a soap opera? Why do they look so different? And that's how I learned about lighting when I first started. Anyway, back to the frame rate thing. My parents cannot tell the difference between 30 and 60 frames per second.
That's why.
Well,
they're nuts.
These guys were
broken.
These guys were experts. They should have been able to notice the difference between like this point and the way higher, but they just couldn't.
Wait a second. What experts? Like, what do they do?
I'm not 100% sure. This was just an article my dad found somewhere.
Yeah? Okay.
Frames per second, like, were so high that you can't even tell anymore.
Yeah, well, there is a point, right? There's got to be some point at which that doesn't surprise me.
I can't remember how high the point was where they said they couldn't tell the difference.
I imagine for like, okay, so I imagine the highest number of frames per second a human could be able to distinguish would be somewhere in the 200, 300 range.
Not that your eyes could perceive it.
What are you talking about?
It's so fast your eyes can't even tell. Oh shit, my computer went to sleep again.
Oh. Okay, so anyway, so my parents can't tell the difference between 30 and 60. I myself, I don't think I would be able to tell the difference between 120 and like 240. I can definitely tell the difference between 30 and 60 and 120. But I think perhaps past that point I might not be able to tell. I don't know. I've never seen 240 frames per second video.
Yeah. I mean, you can kind of see it in menus on certain games.
Yeah.
My little brother, he's so good at, like, he can read a ping value just by looking at it sometimes.
Wait, who can do this?
My little brother.
Oh, your brother's like a freak of nature, though. So
yeah,
I don't find that too hard to believe. Not in the bad way. Not in the bad way.
He is very tactical, very smart. He just doesn't apply himself.
I don't know about that. He's always seemed like one of those kind of slightly disturbing geniuses, you know?
Let me rephrase that again. He doesn't apply himself where he should apply himself.
I do not know this guy, so...
Yeah.
You do not want to meet him.
Oh.
You might want to meet him. It depends.
Depends. Do you want someone, like, assassinated, like, so mysteriously, like...
He'll kill someone for you.
Oh.
Give him $100.
He'll, like, program a computer to, like, blow up in his face or something somehow.
Oh, jeez. This guy sounds awesome. Anyway.
FBI, do not break down my door. My brother is not that smart. That was just a simulation of what he possibly could do.
Okay. But anyway, I think back to the frame rate thing. I'm sorry. I want to keep going back to this because there's something I want to get out, which is I think the people with the best frame rate distinguishing abilities are race car drivers. I don't know if you know this, but like race car drivers have this amazing ability to see things that fly by them and read them, react, and tell exactly what's going on within an instant. Not only can they see those things, but they can think about them complexly, like instantly. It's amazing. And so I think these experts that you might have been talking about in the article might have been race car drivers. If they weren't, I don't know if I would necessarily take the article's word for it. But
they're not people. Race car drivers just aren't people.
That feeling that you just described with the race car drivers, I have felt that feeling. Like, it almost feels like time stops for a second and you have time to actually think through. It's really creepy. And
yeah, it's called adrenaline.
Get fucked, kid.
But, like, when I'm going to sound like really dumb when I say this, when I rollerblade and someone topples in front of me, like, time literally seems to stop and I can react fast enough to dodge.
Yeah, you're a fucking rollerblader. What the fuck?
I
How
think
did I
that,
not know this?
I think that might be like a human thing, like a human reaction.
It is. I mean, it's literally being so frightened that it triggers your adrenaline system.
I
Yeah.
don't feel frightened.
But I say frightened, it just means that something you weren't expecting
It's
happens,
stimulating.
and it's so stimulating that you freeze.
Exactly. Yeah.
It felt more like time froze for a second.
Hmm.
Basically. I mean, that's pretty much what it is.
Right. Right.
Your adrenaline system boosts so high for a brief few seconds that you can basically process time at a much slower pace than usual.
It's not true. I actually have developed time manipulation powers.
Wouldn't it be amazing?
You
if
have
we were-
become Half-Life.
Okay, wouldn't it be amazing if we were able to find a way, like as a human species, not us three, but wouldn't it be amazing if we could
Yes,
find
us
a
three.
way to enhance our brains so that we could run fast all the time, like our brains could think faster all of the time?
A lot of people would say that's called cocaine, Trevor.
But I'm
Not what I'm saying.
I wouldn't agree with that, but you
I
know.
think the problem that I'm coming up with that is, if you're working your brain that fast so much, wouldn't it basically overload it and then your brain would fry itself basically?
Well, I mean, obviously, yes, with that much electricity running through your brain, or with a certain amount of electricity running through your brain, that much, it would probably start to heat up a lot, right? So there would be a limit, of course, but it would be like overclocking our brains. Wouldn't that be cool, though?
I don't know. I really don't like the idea of messing with the human body to enhance it like beyond what it should be. I'd use that movie Lucy, which is totally like horrible writing in itself.
Okay.
One where she can activate 100% of her brain.
Well, I mean, okay.
Which is technically a misconception.
Yes.
Yeah, that is a misconception.
There's probably a little bit of truth to it, but it's still like, I don't know.
I think what it's supposed to mean is like that we only use 10% of our brain. What I think it's supposed to mean is we only use like 10% of it at a time, maybe. That's the closest thing I can think of to it.
Okay, so my idea about how that myth came to be is that only 10% of your brain has electricity running through it at any given moment.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's
what.
constantly changing, if that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I like to think that I can get it down to 1% in my constant effort to be lazier.
Okay, Griff.
Oh, boy. Anyway, so do you want to move on to the next thing? Or-
Yeah, let's move on.
I guess we've been doing pretty good about, I don't know, moving through naturally.
Right.
But yeah,
We've
Big
gone through
Bang Theory, you know why it sucks? Because, okay, backstory to why this is something that's relevant to us. Both Trevor and I are filmmakers, film writers specifically. I write a lot, and I write comedy. And we used to actually like The Big Bang Theory early on.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
I know.
Be good.
And my dad still does like The Big Bang Theory.
My parents do too.
My
Jacob's
parents.
back.
My parents are on.
Jacob, get the fuck out. No, I'm kidding. Please.
All right, bye.
Bye.
You missed a
Fucking
you missed a very interesting conversation, Jacob, and you will have to listen back to it later.
You know what? That'll give me a reason to listen to the podcast. That'll be our first view.
Wonderful.
Not
Wonderful.
true. I can
Jacob's
be the
the only
first
one who
view.
watches our podcast.
Anyway, so go ahead. Talk about Big Bang Theory. Sorry.
Okay, so the biggest thing about the Big Bang Theory is that the writing has slowly devolved into all of the quote-unquote jokes are
Bajorgle.
pop culture references.
Yeah.
And some of them are even pop culture references that are literally jokes referencing Big Bang Theory. Bazinga is a great example of this.
Yeah.
Because it started off as a catchphrase, and now it's literally used just because Sheldon is a pop culture icon.
It's true.
And
very
it's
true.
almost token.
Well,
It is.
it's developed by a guy named Chuck Lorre, and he also did 2.5 Men. So he has done other sitcoms that really relate to a very general audience. He's not necessarily looking for that niche, actual nerd culture audience. The thing that sucks about The Big Bang Theory is that if it was a show about, nerds in modern society that actually embraced nerd culture and actually tried to laugh with people who were into pop culture and video games and films like that, if it was trying to laugh with them and not at them, I would really enjoy it. And I think that's a lot of people thought it was when it was coming out and it started to gain some popularity. But over time, if you look at it, it's not as much laughing with people who enjoy this stuff. It's laughing people at that enjoy that kind of stuff. It's what I've heard referred to as nerd blackface.
Yeah.
Where it's just and that's the thing, and including the clip that Jackson showed us today, is that it's really just throwing out just words that just sound nerdy, and then having someone go, I don't know what that means, and that's the entire show.
And
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that this show is all the way bad, because it clearly has to have something to
Oh yeah, there's some good
to
stuff.
have stuck around for so long. And I'm not gonna say that I can't pop on an episode and I won't laugh at it the entire time. I will say I don't find it near as funny as a lot of people do, and that's because of the reasons you listed. That the jokes are basically just saying things and hoping people don't understand them, which makes it funny.
Yeah,
Because when you do understand it, it makes no fucking sense.
Well, the crazy thing is if you actually watch season one is comedy fucking gold, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
then after that, again, like I said, it's making fun of them, but it's also where over time, for example, Sheldon's character at first seems like a bit of a know-it-all and someone who has a lot of niche characteristics, but over time, they don't really develop that character or don't really develop it in the right direction, and it just ends up coming off as awkward, and it's really it's weird because it also falls in the trope where like all the characters find love interests, even though one of the main characters' whole gag was that he didn't know how to pick up women. Like it's just this weird concoction of and I find that the people who like it are not. It's not a young person's show. You know what I mean? Like it's mainly people who are kind of slightly outside of the microcosm of
It's like trying to adapt modern sitcom ideology made by the sitcom masters to
yes,
millennial tendencies, but at the same time, they don't quite grasp them.
yes,
So
exactly.
they default to this old way of writing. I'm going to say something that I really like about The Big Bang Theory is that it has continuity, which
Yes,
is
it does.
something you don't see in a serial show very often, especially one that runs this long. They tend to make a point to try to forget plot points if they have to.
Hmm.
This one's
Right.
done a very good job of maintaining a constant canon for the show,
So
which I respect, even if it goes against some of the early character developments early on. But it
Well,
still
thing is-
stays within the idea.
the thing is, I can agree with you that I like when a show is basically like a long movie and that it has a continuous plot like that. But I think the idea of a sitcom having that kind of conflicts, right?
Hmm.
The idea it's a sitcom and it has a continuous story, like you have to work jokes in, right? That doesn't always necessarily mesh. I don't know. Anyway, I haven't seen a lot of the more recent episodes, which is why I'm not really commenting a lot here. But
Yeah, I've seen like a couple thanks to my dad just having the show running, but
yeah,
The one thing that bugged me most was Amy Farrah Fowler, Sheldon's girlfriend's character. When she was first introduced, she was literally like another Sheldon.
Yeah. Hmm.
And then later on, like maybe even a season later, she's a polar opposite, like from her personality. She just suddenly shifts completely her personality.
I don't know. It's like I haven't watched the show in the longest format, but I have noticed some things that have fit and some things that don't quite fit.
I
Like-
maintain season one is gold. Season one is just pure gold. After that, it's really hit or miss.
I mean,
gotta watch more season one then.
all the characters, yes, change, but most of them change gradually. With Amy's character, it was just almost instant change in comparison.
Bizarrical.
Yeah.
Buzz a bit.
Hey, chicka bonk bonk.
Bagaggle.
Does this mean we need to move on to another topic?
Yes.
Probably just because we said what we needed to say, and it's not really going to transition.
Yeah. All right.
I don't want to hold a fucking.
I do want to talk about how German chocolate is better than American chocolate.
I mean, okay.
Is there any argument against that?
Nope. Let's move on.
All right.
What about
Very nice.
chocolate?
What video games have we been playing? I kind of touched on this with that Star Wars Dark Forces game, but I've been trying to kind of catch up on a couple games. I played Emily is Away, which didn't strike me as that decent, but Trevor talked me into it.
I mean, it's a free game. Come on now.
It's a free game, and I respect that, but at the same time, it seems like a plot where you don't have near as much effect as you want to.
Wait, is that the game? One of those games with that mechanic where you're like in a chat room and then you can just type whatever you want to type. You can type gibberish and then it'll type out what your character is supposed to say.
How did you know?
I love
Is this
that.
a thing?
I love that. It's appeared in multiple games, and what I love is just like just throwing my hands on the keyboard and be like,
My big
yeah.
thing was I actually was trying to type responses, but when I noticed it wasn't typing
Right.
when I was trying to type, I just like would run my hand over the keyboard as fast as I could to get.
Right. There's this awkward moment where you're
Basically,
just
I turn
like,
into this
yeah, that's what it is. It's like, well, damn.
because it's
The
like
thing is, in a normal situation, that would be frightening as hell, right? Like you're typing. Yeah.
Look,
Let me do that. Let me do that to my girlfriend and see what she does. Continue the conversation.
Okay.
Right. Like you type in like, "Hi there, how you doing?" Instead it says, "Fuck you, you're a whore." Like,
My big thing about it is that you can't go back once you pick an option. So you pick an option, start writing it out, and then it doesn't do what you want, and you're like, well, shit.
yeah.
Kind of like in real life.
Oh yeah.
The thing is, that game was a wonderful experiment. I think it was a great storytelling experiment.
it's supposed
I thought-
to explain like the meaning of something. Like you
But-
can't hold on to something forever or something. I think that was supposed to be the point.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah.
I feel like it was a good way to try to tell a story, and that's all it was. I didn't feel like there was any great deep meaning that I was going to derive from it, or an emotional journey. I guess a lot of people had an emotional journey with it, but
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people who've played it and they're just like, oh my god.
I feel like games could have a lot more emotional effect on somebody if executed in the right way, telling the right story. Anyway.
Yeah. There was a game that came out somewhat recently that was actually like had to do with abortion, and it was like a very weird but touching narrative. You know what I mean? And games can absolutely do that. They can
Is
touch
it Binding of Isaac?
No, but that could be interpreted that way.
I watched a little bit of John playing Binding of Isaac, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? They're leaving literal piles of shit everywhere.
Oh yeah, no, it's got that gross factor, which for some people is really hard to get past as an aesthetic.
It really
Wait.
turned me off to the entire game.
What is the game? I'm sorry.
Binding of Isaac?
No, I'm talking about the game that you were just talking about, Jake.
Binding of
You
Isaac.
know what? I'd have to look up. No. I'd have to look up the game that. I'd have to look it up because it has a really obscure title.
Oh, the abortion one.
It was an
Oh,
indie
my-
game.
Everything is an abortion analogy. That's
Crap! I'm only finding South Park: The Stick of Truth abortion minigame. Hold on. Not what I'm talking about.
Move on while he's like other games we've been playing.
I believe it was on
Honey
Steam
Pop.
Greenlight. So let me look that up. You guys keep talking.
Okay.
It begins and ends with Honey Pop.
Okay. Tell me about Honey Pop, because I
It's
still have.
basically match 3 to meet and fuck. That's all it is.
Well, no. Well, yeah, basically.
I have no idea why I have an obsession with the game, but I've gotten to the point where if I mess up one thing, even a conversational thing, I will quit the game and restart it.
Wow.
Okay.
I refuse to let it even autosave. I'm so looking to perfect this game, and I don't know why.
I've heard that it's not on Steam, but there's an even worse version of it, like completely uncensored and
Oh yeah.
There is a purely uncensored version of it. However, the version I bought it on Steam, and it so far seems uncensored.
it's worse apparently.
Yeah, no. There's a patch you can get, Jackson. Don't ask me how I know about it because I've never never used it in my life before. But
Carly, if you're listening to this, he's totally
there-
it.
there is a patch that you can download that will get rid of all the censors. Yeah, no. It's what I love about Honey Pop though is that it's a game making fun of games like it while also being that kind of game, where it's like,
It's
hey,
parody.
yeah, no, it's like parody but also successfully doing it. You know what I mean? Like pun intended. It's sort of like when you find a parody movie that's so good, but it's also like Shaun of the Dead, you know, because Shaun of the Dead is making fun of Dawn of the Dead, but at the same time being a movie. You know what I mean?
It's being a zombie film while poking fun at a lot
Yes!
of zombie films.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's such a good example of, you know, a game making fun of other games, but also still being a decent game.
Do you know what
it's
else did that?
Deadpool, right? Like Deadpool.
Yes, exactly.
Deadpool
Okay.
the game. No, Deadpool the game kind of just fell into the generic part because it couldn't make fun of things successfully.
No, I'm talking Deadpool in general. Deadpool being a superhero.
The character.
Right, yeah. Deadpool's
Yeah.
making fun of other superheroes while also being a decent superhero. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. To be
Whereas
fair,
one
he's
super-
also a pretty good villain.
By the way, the game I was talking about earlier was called Untitled. It was on Steam Greenlight, and
Oh, Jesus. It's
I'm
called
trying to figure-
Untitled.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
Untitled.
try and find that shit.
Ah.
So Jackson, who's your favorite Unipop character?
The Indian chick.
Are you serious?
Believe.
Hold on. Wait, first of all, do you mean Native American?
I thought that she.
Oh, no, you're right. She is.
Yeah.
She is Indian.
She is from India, but like, what's weird to me as well is that like there's certain.
I mean, the game
girls-
is basically stereotyped the game.
Oh,
Right.
boy. Oh,
It's
jeez.
bad. I don't recommend playing it. I don't know why I play it. I try to avoid playing it, but I've still logged like 3 hours
It's a
into the
fun
game.
match 3.
Okay. Can we just take a second for... Okay. Jackson says, I really like this game. I do not recommend it. I don't know why I played it.
It is one of those games where you're
Half of it is
like-
breasts.
like-
I'll be very upfront with that.
Okay.
I'm
The,
kidding.
the
I'm
reason
kidding.
you buy this game is for breasts.
No,
That is-
I buy it because I don't have a look. No, I don't know why the fuck.
He
I
buys
play
Jackson,
it.
let me explain it for you. Let me explain what you can't say. It is a fun game that in the middle of 4 a.m. you go, what the fuck am I doing? You know what I mean? Like it's a fun experience, but you can't play it without feeling a little sad.
To be fair,
Um,
if I wanted to really feel sad about myself, I would just play Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, by the way, Jackson, when you said you like the Indian chick, did you mean Belly or Kiana?
Belly.
Okay.
Tiana's Mexican.
Is she? That's probably right.
This is
Belly
almost as
runs-
bad as Trevor not knowing who Kojima is and thinking
I'll
it's
be
Iwata.
totally
excuse-
honest.
uh,
Belly reminds me of my girlfriend.
uh,
I like Lola.
Well,
and-
because she's the only girl in the game that's like, at one point she's put in a bikini. She's like, I don't really like this. Like, this is kind of
Exactly.
like
Look,
weird.
that
You know what I
spoke
mean?
to me.
Like,
that spoke
she's
to
the
me.
only person with a little bit of self-respect that's like, that's kind of trashy.
oh,
They're too-
It's like the only one with self-respect. Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
but
basically
if you don't like
describe
Aiko, you're wrong. Aiko
Aiko?
is the
Aiko
teacher
is
who
like
doesn't
hot
give a fuck.
teacher bitch, which is
She what's
as a
amazing to
character
me
is like amazing.
No, as a mechanic, I love this, right? Any other girl, you try to give them a drink during the day, and they'll be like, depending on who the girl is, most of them will be like, oh, I probably shouldn't drink during the day. Or like at night, you can only get them a certain amount of drinks before they're like, oh, I probably don't want to get too drunk. Aiko will drink any time of the day as much as she wants. You will give her like sake and whiskey and booze. While she's teaching, she'll be like, fuck it, yeah.
oh,
I
wow.
love Aiko.
You can't catch her in class.
Oh,
You
Right
can catch her on campus, but you can't catch her in class.
Oh,
She'll
you have
drink
to
anytime at
catch.
the pool, at the mall, at the carnival. She will drink anywhere, and I love it.
Yeah.
My favorite characters are Lola and Tiffany.
okay, so John's
Can
in
we
on
please
this.
stop? Can we please
Tiffany's the
stop
first girl you
talking?
meet. I feel like if you like. Also, okay, so it's not actually. I don't believe it's actually in the game, but it's kind of headcanon with a lot of people that since Jessie is a porn star, that Tiffany is her daughter. Because she does say she has a daughter.
Oh, that's fucking confirmed.
Oh, is it? I
It's
totally,
confirmed!
I totally. Why are you people yelling at me about Honey
Because
Pot?
Yeah, it's your job to yell at us. Stop
You're
yelling.
let's play on the damn game.
Why are we yelling?
It's been a while.
No, they have the same last name. She makes repeated references to her mother, while the mother makes repeated references to her
Never
daughter.
mind, the
They
theory's
look almost
confirmed.
exactly the fucking same.
Never
Except
mind,
the
my
boob
theory's
size.
confirmed.
Well,
But my-
clearly.
No,
the
I
mother's
gotta
a
ask.
fake.
What?
What?
I gotta ask you, Jackson. Have you made it to the hidden characters that I didn't know about, or not hidden?
No, I've legitimately not progressed beyond 4 characters, and one of them I still haven't talked to.
Like real life.
Pretty much, I'm just trying to complete like one character in particular. I think I'm closer with Tiffany than I am with Belly.
Mhm.
I did a full playthrough. I didn't record
Same.
it. I wish I had, because I could have done my creepy voice, like, oh, look at your boobies.
Oh, that would be just a joy to watch. Oh.
I would.
Jackson
fucking
and
watch
I have a
the
little
shit
bit
out
of
it.
Honey Pop.
We
gameplay
do
recorded.
have a Honey Pop recording.
Oh.
I don't know if we'll release it. We might.
Oh boy.
We do get some pretty great dialogue with Q, who's the love fairy. That's like, why aren't you banging any chicks? And we're like, I don't. Well, also I love how like.
Why am I not banging the chicks? Because the chicks do not have the bang.
'Cause Jackson, like when talking with her, you always had the funniest answers, and I don't know how you pulled it off because it only gives you 3 answers every
Because
time.
I
Because
played
you're
the game
hilarious.
as if it was me,
It's good.
which has forced me to not do that. And if we ever go back and to continue that save file, which I doubt we will because you probably ended up deleting it when you wiped your
I think I
hard drive.
have it. I have it. Hold on. I can check it right now.
Well,
Um,
either way, it's like I don't know if I could get myself back into that mindset of letting my failures stand, because basically after a while you can't progress in the game
What do you mean by that?
without messing up. Like,
Are you
it's so
are you
difficult.
investing your Huni?
No.
That's why you're failing.
No,
Yeah,
no,
you're
that's
investing.
no. I am investing. I'm trying to farm it, and I don't know how.
Okay.
You gotta talk and give them gifts, man. Just like real life.
I feel
Trevor's way out of his fucking element, but you know what? You went on an entire rant about TASs. I think this is fair.
okay.
We
Good
gotta talk
news,
about-
everybody.
Sex with virtual women.
Good news, everybody. Left 4 Dead is finished downloading.
Oh, finally.
All right.
Right after
That's
this.
another thing we've been working on. We're still kind of like in the beta for the channel because we're still editing stuff and deciding release tables and whatnot. This is definitely going to be the first upload.
Right. Exactly. So
So
anyway.
I have been playing. I've first of all, I've started a solo playthrough of Telltale's The Walking Dead because I wanted to do that on my own and just see what decisions I come up with.
Okay.
I've also been playing. So I started getting back into Warframe, which a lot of people have because there's been like thousands of upgrades to the game and it's
I just
phenomenal. Shut up, nobody asked you.
Fuck you.
I also started playing a little bit of Child of Light, which is a very good game.
I have not played Child of Light. It's like a RPG.
Yes, I haven't gotten too far into it, but it is an RPG with a lovely art aesthetic, and looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't say yet because, like I said, I haven't gotten too far into it. I played about 5 minutes of it just through the introduction, but yeah, it's very pretty.
My plan is to save up some money, and I'm going to buy the entire Half-Life series and work on a playthrough of that. But I want to play through with somebody, so it might wait until the summer.
Okay.
Oh, damn it! You don't have any friends though.
Yeah, not here.
Well, I mean,
That joke was a
think,
hit with John.
I think I might.
I just need to do a stand-up bit, and like a stand-up special, and just have John in the audience to lose his shit over all my dumb
It'll
jokes.
be like the Shia LaBeouf musical.
Yes.
John,
Jackson.
but all the jokes have to be insults to John.
Right. Jackson, I think I might be in Kansas City with you, so I might be able to hit you up with that.
Maybe.
By Kansas City, do you mean Lee Summit?
No, I mean Kansas City.
You're Kansas City.
I'm
Because
not in Kansas City.
I'm not Kansas
Ooh,
City.
get fucked.
anyway, so mind if I talk about the games I've been playing?
Don't ask permission, just do it.
Okay, sorry.
No,
Okay.
you lost your opportunity. Fuck it. So I really like Nutella,
Uh-huh.
and I think we should put it on everything,
You're wrong.
including infants.
I can agree with you there, Jacob. I can get
Talk about
behind-
your games. Talk about your games.
Who cares?
All right.
Talk about
So
your games.
anyway, I've been playing Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Wait, what was
Nerd,
nice.
fucking nerd.
Yeah.
Xbox or on
Why would
on
Trevor
an
have an Xbox?
No, I've been playing it on the
He wasn't
Nintendo
here for the
64.
rant.
Oh, so you have like a legit Nintendo 64 console set up.
Yes, I do. Of course I do.
Nice.
Yeah.
Trevor, you say that as if everyone has one.
Well, I mean,
What kind of scrub wouldn't have a Nintendo
My
64
sister
console?
has a 64.
Somebody
I was
who didn't exist during the Nintendo 64 heyday.
I was born in '95. The Nintendo 64 came out in '95. My dad was still into video games, and he bought a Nintendo 64 for us, air quotes. And I just got into that shit at a very young age. So of course I have.
And then you played
So-
Conker's
so-
Bad Fur Day, and you've been a terrible human being ever since.
Actually, this is the first time I've ever played the game.
Didn't your dad like legitimately not let you play it because he saw the M rating?
Oh yeah, because it's like a very lewd game.
He's like one of
Yes.
4 adults in the world who knows what the rating system is.
Yeah. Okay. So
Oh god.
I'm proud of your dad.
the thing about
Your dad
Conker-
is the real MVP here.
the thing
Shut
about
up,
Con-
Jackson.
Okay, Conker's Bad Fur Day. It was originally going to be like a kid-friendly kind of Banjo-Kazooie game, right?
Was it?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was called like 12 Tales or something. And then the developers decided, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just do something rude, lewd, and crude for the end of Nintendo 64 era. and on the shelves they had like, even though it still like looked kid friendly with the cute squirrel and stuff, they had to put it on the box in big red letters. This is an M-rated game, right? Like you can't give this shit to your kids. It literally said
I mean,
it said
you
that.
can. It's just whether or not it's a good idea is debatable.
Right.
I just love that being an actual subtitle. You can't give this shit to your kids. So how's it playing, Trevor?
Okay, so the actual game.
How are your kids handling it?
I look back at it, and of course, you can see all the polygons and stuff.
Of
But-
course.
Polygon tits.
Right. Exactly.
Polygon boobs.
Yeah.
Introducing the Uniboob.
But looking at all the other games from that era, it is like really. It's technically. I'm sorry. What?
I just said video game innovation in reference to the polygonal boobs.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Lara Croft
honestly,
tits.
this game has a lot of like. It was ahead of its time. Like it had a lot of really awesome things going on down at the software level, because like there was like advanced lighting and vertex shading and blended textures and all these things that were like unheard of at the time that were going to be transferred over to the GameCube era, and it was just it looks really good for a Nintendo 64 game. And
Okay.
that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna nerd out about. So
I've probably been playing a couple other games. I just can't think of any. I played a little bit of Walking Dead with one of my friends here at college, and we just kind of had fun messing around with that. I watched him play a lot of Arkham Knight, which looked about average for just about any like stealth beat 'em up.
well, I haven't played.
It
Arkham
looked like
Knight.
it played very fluidly.
Yeah.
is what
I
I'm saying,
heard.
which sounds like pretty much any Batman game in the Arkham series.
I heard that Arkham City and Arkham Asylum were a lot better though.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah.
Jacob, thoughts?
On which thing?
Arkham Knight.
Okay, so it was a broken piece of shit when it came out.
Did you play it on PC?
Yeah.
You're dumb.
Okay, but a lot of things got fixed. A lot of people rated it as one of their worst games of last year, and I don't really think it deserved that. And I think a lot of that
I've heard
was.
a big complaint launched at it was the story being a little too generic.
That's
and it
true. Then
retraced
again,
a lot of the older Batman Arkham
well, yes, but
series
it's
plot
wrapping
points.
up 4 games. You know what I mean? So it's
But
kind
why does it have to wrap up the 4 games?
Listen
when the 4
here,
games
you little
wrap
shit.
themselves up.
It had Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Origins, and Arkham Knight. It had all 4 games kind of wrap up.
It
So
should
I mean,
never have done Arkham Origins.
what the fuck you mean? It should never done Arkham Origins? The fuck you
Arkham
talking
Origins wasn't done by Rocksteady and therefore is garbage.
about? It was alright, man. Don't knock it.
I completely forgot about that game, to be
Garbage.
honest.
Anyway, I feel like a lot of the complaints that were launched at its mechanical issues at the beginning, which is totally fair, but I don't think.
I hate those reviews. The ones that are like right when it comes out and it's just has all these problems and you're just like, oh, 0 out of 10.
Well, yeah. On one hand, I hate reviews that are like, Fallout 4 on PC, best game of 2015, and they don't mention like any of the bugs it has. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at the same time, you get reviews like John was just saying, where it gets released and they're like 0 to 10 because it has these bugs, right? Neither of those are fair, right?
So you're saying, so basically you're saying that reviews tend to have a bias towards them just based on the title coming out.
Sometimes.
No, not just that. It's just number one, the developer it comes from. Number two, if it comes out and it has issues, a lot of people focus too much or too little on those issues. What I feel like you need to do is you need to review the game as you can play it, and whatever those bugs stop you from doing, let the consumer know in your review. But if it really doesn't stop your experience from being that good, then just continue on with the game and write your review about that.
But
For
there's
example,
a big question, like, what about some bugs that reviewers may not have experienced? Because we know that some bugs tend to be user by user basis, and some people can play an entire game that's supposedly bugged to all hell without experiencing a single bug in the entire time they play it.
Right. Well, I mean, I was just about to say with Assassin's Creed Unity, that was one of those things where like 99% of cases, there were certain aspects of the game that were nigh unplayable, or took out the immersion, and that's an example where when you're writing about it for the longest time when it doesn't get patched, that I feel like it's fair to complain about. What was something with Arkham City where it did have a lot of frame rate issues, and it did have a lot of bugs. But the difference is Arkham City, there's a lot. You could still play through the game. You know what I mean? It wasn't like stopping you from playing the game.
I don't understand people who whine about frame rate. I can understand if it drops to like 2 frames a second, that gets bad. But I think that 15
Oh my
is
gosh,
still
my frame rate
playable.
under.
Wait, hold on. Did you say 15 was playable?
I've played games at 15 frames.
We're about
played
to
games
fight
at
right
15
now.
frames. Conker's Bad Fur Day is probably 15 frames per second.
Okay, so let me break it down here for just a second. So 60 FPS is kind of that ideal. It's what you strive for. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Well,
No.
here's the thing, Jackson. I feel I understand you, but like at the same time, if someone said
Don't understand me. Don't lie to me.
all right, let me come out from my perspective. Let me not. I ain't gonna speak for you, boy. I ain't gonna speak for you.
No one fucking understands you, Jackson.
So like 60 frames per second is up there, right? But
Yes.
a lot of people make the case that the human eye actually can't detect the difference between 30 frames and 60 frames.
No.
Which is not
Bullshit.
true. But at the same time, some people find 60 frames too disconcerting. Like me.
Right.
I
right.
find it can induce motion sickness if it's intense, but still staying at 60 frames. So I like games that will dynamically adjust a frame rate.
Mm-hmm.
to where
Well,
it
and the
makes it
weird
a
thing
little
is
bit
that
easier
a
on the
lot of
eyes.
television and film plays at 25 frames per second, and
Well,
so oftentimes
24 to 25.
right, but so oftentimes gamers like myself will sometimes set the frame rate to 25 if we want a more cinematic experience. So I think that nobody's wrong in that, unless you say that, unless you tell someone else how to view something. You know what I mean?
I prefer between 30 and 45. When I'm recording, I lock my frame rate at 50.
I usually lock mine at 30. But yeah.
Okay. Well, but at the same time, like when you're capturing stuff that you have to set what the capture is, I think 50 is just low enough without it being 60.
Yeah.
What is mine locked at? Let's see if I can figure this out.
It should be in your frap settings. Oh wait, you use Bandicam like a.
Does he really use Bandicam?
tool.
Yeah, I use
Yeah.
him.
Oh my god.
Why
I
did
can
X-Files come back?
Do you when you shoot YouTube videos, what aspect ratio do you use?
It better be 4:3.
Because 2007 wants their equipment back.
Excuse me, Jackson. 3x4. What is wrong with you?
Everything. First of all, fuck you. Second of all, why did they bring X-Files back?
Uh,
I understand it's like one of
We
those
never
old
got to talk about
shows.
what games I'm playing, but apparently no one gives a shit.
We'll
John,
come
what
back.
games
We'll
are you
come
playing?
back.
Fine, let's talk about X-Files and why it came back.
No, let's talk about what games John's playing.
John, what have you been playing?
Well, it's not a new game. It's not old either. It's maybe 5 years-ish old.
Okay.
2010, you fucking millennial.
2011. Excuse me, Jackson. We are now in a new year.
No, it's still January, you piece of shit. Nothing comes out in
I saw
January of
Jacob
2011.
earlier today. Smite, Battleground of the Gods. I know you and Trevor don't like it.
Well, I've actually
I just don't like MOBAs.
I've been playing Heroes of the Storm, and so I was like, oh, I see John play Smite a lot. Maybe I'll download that and give that a try. So I've been working my way through the tutorial.
I just don't play MOBAs. That's like a thing with me. I just don't enjoy them.
That's just because you're a pussy. That's fine.
They're too slow paced.
That's fine. You're a pussy. It's okay.
I'm sorry, you're a fucking nerd.
Maybe I can commentate with Jacob. He's probably more interesting than Alec. Sorry, Alec. No.
Rip Alec.
Not that Alec
Fucked
isn't-
Alex.
It's not that he isn't interesting. It's just I feel he try-hards too much.
Tries too hard.
I mean, to be fair, anytime I played zombies with Jacob, it's very clear that I'm try-harding.
Well, yeah, but like you're
but it's
kind of
because
my
I'm
mentor,
decent at
and I'm kind of
zombies.
yeah. No, you're my mentor, and I'm the young Padawan. That's like, Anakin, can I be a Jedi like you? And then you just pull out your lightsaber, and I'm like, oh fuck, and then you just kill me.
You know, I'm very curious.
I don't kill you, the zombies kill you. I'm the one that keeps you picked back up so more zombies can kill you.
Wait a second, Jackson. Have you and I ever played zombies before?
I don't know. I think we tried once and then the computer just wasn't working.
That's the big issue with
I got it working with Jacob once though. I don't know if we recorded it though.
We got it working once for a while for when we did it, but we were like, this recording's such shit because
yeah, it had a lot of frame rate issues, connectivity issues. I do have a split screen recording from Xbox 360 that I made with Jacob.
At least that's local and it's on a console, probably a little more reliable.
Yeah, I still think that console gaming is a good alternative for when equipment just doesn't work, which is pretty often in the PC world.
Exactly. That's
especially
kind of
with us.
You're right.
We're kind of living in an area where we're split apart and we have different internet providers.
You're right.
And ultimately, like, multiplayer is very difficult to get to work between us unless there's a dedicated server.
Every time I see Jacob's picture pop up on the Google Hangouts call, it's his fingers over his chin, and I'm like, that's like the perfect emotion for just recess.
Somebody sketched that on a whiteboard of him, and I really, really want that person to make ones for all of us.
I know, right? It looks so good, except my beard's a little more fleshed out now.
Your beard is like fucking Stephen Hancock's right now. I don't know if you've ever met him.
To be honest, I missed your bear face.
Wait, by bear face, do you mean my face that looks like I'm a bear when I have a lot of hair, or like my naked face?
No, I mean like your barren face.
You mean my pussy face?
Yes.
What you mean, boy?
Yes, the face that you can actually go down on a girl with.
Oh, I do, but like, my beard and her pubes mesh like Velcro?
They call that the lock and something.
They call that the lockjaw, my friend.
No, we meant the face that when you got punched so hard in the face, your face turned into a vagina.
It happens.
Okay.
Anyways,
sorry about that.
Another game that
John, anything else you're playing?
Another game I wish we would all play at least just once. It's called Move or Die.
I want to play that. That looks good.
We'll work on it. We'll work on it. We're still working on like a schedule when we're all available in an evening.
The basic concept, it's like a little party game kind of thing. I don't want to use party game because that usually insinuates we're all in like the same room. But it has like the entire concept is basically in the title. You move or you die.
Okay.
We really should look at all having a place where we can gather with our equipment.
It would be very nice.
Well,
party.
That's gonna be hard. I don't have a laptop. I have a box.
Yeah, same for Jacob.
I do have a laptop. It's just like a Chromebook that I put Windows 10 on. Anyway.
I got a laptop.
I run everything on a laptop because I'm a fucking square.
So
but a square who can go to a coffee shop.
They brought the X-Files back, and I am super stoked. I actually haven't watched any of the new stuff. I've been binging through season 1 as fast as I possibly can. There are like 9 goddamn seasons. So
where is that available? Like,
Netflix, my friend.
Netflix has X-Files. Okay, that's something that I've been wondering for a while because it's like it looks semi-interesting in the same way that Fringe looked interesting, which is to say it's creepy but science fiction. So
X-Flix
kind
has
of up my
X-Files.
alley, but a little more on the spooky side.
X-Files has X-Flix. Yeah.
Shut your fucking mouth.
Is it really spelled with a Z? You put that as a Z in the notes.
No, it's not. Did you see how I spelled video games?
Well, yeah, but I don't know. Maybe you're just dyslexic. I can't know these things. Come on now.
He's not dyslexic. He just has an extra chromosome. Don't worry about it.
Speaking of dyslexia,
Jacob, I'm going to write a strongly worded letter to Ellen Ripley about the things you say to the autistic community.
So
I'm gonna write a strongly worded letter to your girlfriend and sign it Jacob.
If anybody doesn't have like any complaints, I would actually like to talk about weird trademarks for a second.
Yeah, we can talk about that, like Candy Crush trying to.
Yeah, no, okay. There's Candy Crush trying to get Saga, right? And 2 more recent examples is one, Sony trying to trademark the phrase "Let's Play."
Okay, hang on. I want to clarify Sony's use of the word "Let's Play."
Okay.
They were trying to trademark it exclusively for marketing, so that they could say "Let's Play" in their advertising.
But here's the thing, right?
Without Xbox taking it.
Right, but they made it. They when you're filing for a trademark claim, you have to make it very clear what you're using it for, right? And so they did say it was for marketing, but they also said when described what Let's Play was, they described it as long-form video content with commentary. You know what I mean? So like they weren't just doing it as a 2-word phrase. They were doing it with 2-word phrase and that context. You see what I mean?
Right.
So on one hand, I think. if they were solely going to use it for marketing, it would have been fine. But at the same time, it kind of has you scratching your head, going like, what were they going to use it for exactly? You know what I mean?
Well, thank
Right.
God that it didn't go through.
Right.
It
And
didn't
then
go through on account that, first off, Dr. Pepper owns the domain for Let's Play, and they would not sell it. Second off, there are multiple channels that make money marketing Let's Play. For example, Rooster Teeth's channel, Let's Play.
Right.
yeah, and so also they just found this out today that the Fine brothers are trying to trademark the term react.
Jesus Christ, that's why I've
no.
been seeing things today.
Right, and
Seeing,
so
really
like
dumb imagery, just making fun of them.
Okay. Can we? Okay, I'm gonna put in my 2 cents here.
go for it.
So
Unfortunately, from that last podcast, we're up to 10 cents with Trevor.
yeah, right. All right. So
The last podcast that may or may not come out, it was over
It
Star Wars
broke my
Episode
laptop.
7.
Like I will show you my laptop. It broke my hard drive. Anyway,
okay,
continue.
wait. Disregarding the React thing from the Fine Brothers. By the way, they have their own shit that I'm gonna talk about later. I think.
What, the fact that they're just a boring channel that no one cares about?
Yes. Okay. Next. Okay. I'm gonna talk about that next though. So
Got him.
first thing I want to say is if game companies really do not want Let's Players making videos of their games, what they ought to do is just make games that are better being played than they are
Like
being
Telltale.
watched. Like Telltale, yeah, I guess.
To be fair, people enjoy watching Telltale stuff regardless.
yes,
but it's mostly to see people's choices in the game rather than see the game itself.
Exactly. But the thing is, like, if you want to make a game that sells, you can't make a game that you can watch a video of and get the same experience from, right?
Exactly.
So you need to make a game that has meaningful choice. And I've talked to you about this, Jackson. You need to make a game that has choice in it, a choice that the player has to be involved with, so that if you're watching somebody else playing, they are having a different experience than you would. And that's how you sell the game to multiple people, not just one, so that other people can watch.
Right, and not just that. I mean, even if it's something like Call of Duty or Splatoon, something where the gameplay is fun enough where you have to have that interaction to get the most out of it, and you can't just sit down and watch it. You know what I mean? I mean, you can,
Right.
but the gameplay has to be fun enough.
That's
Yeah.
why you're never going to see commentary over a Call of Duty campaign, but you'll see the multiplayer modes like zombies all the time. Because
Exactly.
Well, there's a meta to that as well.
Yeah, like
that is a level of, like, people have different strategies and they make different choices throughout. Whereas the campaign, it's pretty clear cut what you have to do.
yeah,
And as well with like Nintendo, you have this dissonance where like Nintendo Japan hates Let's Plays, right, and hates their videos being uploaded to YouTube, but Nintendo of America loves it. So like you have this, company discourse where it's like, what do people want from us?
I actually wasn't aware that was the case. I just thought Nintendo hated them. But
No, that's why all the time you see like Nintendo promoting, like Nintendo of America, like promoting that type of stuff, and then Nintendo of Japan being like, nah, fuck that.
that's incredible. I had no
Fuck
idea.
that shit.
back
Anyway.
back
Well,
to
anyway,
what
that's
one of you was saying about like how the campaign isn't shown. It's like if it's a story-driven game like The Last of Us, I think it was, where the entire game was pretty much story.
yeah.
All you have to do is watch it and you get the same experience. But like as Jackson said, with a multiplayer game like Call of Duty, you don't get the same experience playing it yourself.
Exactly.
Watch-
Yeah.
That's why a story-driven game is harder to sell, I think. One, because once you play it, it's kind of done.
Well, I actually think I can disagree with you there, John, because
I'm excluding Telltale games.
well,
Well, let's see
Telltale
what- like,
games and like games like The Witcher, right? I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys.
I've never played The Witcher. I've never.
I love
seen
The Witcher.
Okay, so Witcher, the Witcher series, they're interesting games because they have diversely branching paths and story. You cannot watch one video series of those games and get the full experience. You need to
Oh,
actually
yeah.
play it.
That
So
world
I-
is so vast. You could never do that in one video.
Yeah. So anyway, what were you saying, Jacob?
Oh, I was just gonna say even games like Until Dawn, where I mean, it's not
Until
a
Dawn's
Telltale
like
game.
it's a great example of like what games can do as far as choice and how expansive that can be.
Oh yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I just think it's people trying to trademark shit is crazy. People need to
God.
chill the fuck out. Yeah.
All right, so I do have a question. What would you say some really good semi-exclusive game titles would be that would make great Let's Plays?
What do you mean by semi-exclusive? No,
Yeah,
I was just
basically, we had no idea what the fuck that meant.
no, okay, so like for example, an exclusive title, like Halo is an exclusive title. That makes sense,
Okay,
right?
so we were kind of right, I guess.
Right, but
Maybe?
so example for the new Tomb Raider game, it came out on Xbox first, so it was exclusive, but now it's getting a PC and PlayStation 4 delayed release, so it's
I was
semi-exclusive.
right. I
Trevor
was
wins.
right.
You can
That's
have your 10
technically.
cents back.
Hey, I said that too, Trevor. It's not just you who was right.
Fine, you can have 5 of Trevor's 10 cents.
Aha.
So basically, you're saying timed exclusives.
Yes, essentially, which is some people are calling semi-exclusive, and
Yeah, but timed exclusive is the official term that has been used by the video game industry.
right. Well, as well as that, whenever people, people are arguing Xbox One or PS4, and they're like, well, it has this exclusive or this game has this exclusive, when really it's a Xbox One and PC, or it's a PS4 and, Xbox. You know what I mean? Definitely some semi-exclusivity there.
Okay. Quick question.
Okay.
So I didn't know that Tomb Raider was getting a re-release on PC. What's that about?
But not a re-release. The new game. There's Tomb Raider, and then Rise of the Tomb Raider. The next game they're coming out with, and so that already got its Xbox One release, and they had a bundle deal, all that stuff, and now it's getting a release on PS4 and PC.
Huh. Any like bigger story behind that, or just?
No, it's really just I think it's very interesting the way that companies time releases of games, and oftentimes how that can play into console sales, because Nintendo's one of those companies that understands software sells hardware, which is one of the reasons the Wii U did not do very well at first, was because of course they didn't have anything to come out with it that was very good.
Yeah.
And then, I also think it is very interesting and wise whenever people decide PS4 over Xbox One or Xbox One over PS4, depending on what they have. For example, you might say, oh, I really like Halo 5, so I'm going to get an Xbox One. Or you might say, I really like Bloodborne, I really like Until Dawn, so I'm going to get a PS4. But when you have these semi-exclusives, there's kind of this weird thing where it's like, well, I'll get it on Xbox first, but if I wait a while, I could still get it on PC or, PS4.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think exclusives are a great way to decide what console you want, but can kind of be bullshit at the same time.
Yeah. I don't know. Something bothers me very much about the idea of exclusive games in general. I actually think it would be a lot better if every game company just decided we're gonna not make exclusives anymore, and then see which. If PCs sell better, or PS4s, or Xbox Ones, or Wii U's,
Right. Well, you sort of see that with when Sega stopped developing consoles, and they were like, well, I guess we'll just make games for kind of Nintendo, and then all consoles besides PS4. So I think there's certain. It's weird because whenever Nintendo does it, it doesn't bug me because it's a Nintendo IP. You know what I mean? You just expect to see that on a Nintendo console.
Exactly.
But when it's something like Tomb Raider, or something the same way that like Halo, it doesn't bug me because that's always been an Xbox thing. But certain games like that, where the first Tomb Raider was available on everything at the same time, and now you have Tomb Raider coming out on things at different timed points, it just feels weird. It feels shady. You know?
It's basically they're trying exclusives, but they can't pay enough money to keep it exclusive. So they made an agreement where Microsoft gives them, the developer, this amount of money. It's like, okay, we'll keep it this way for a while, but our old games are still available on the other consoles, so I think it's only fair that they come out on those consoles at some point for people who played on those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know.
On another note, I googled what Tomb Raider was, and I got a picture of Lara Croft shaving her bush.
Oh, hey.
All right, how did you spell
we
razor?
won't talk about this too much. But I have such mixed feelings about Lara Croft as a character, right? Because she used to be like just a Tomb Raider type character, and then they kind of made her like this character you're supposed to be sympathetic about, even though she murders a ton of people. Like, I don't know how to feel about the woman anymore.
To be honest, okay, so here's what I have understood from the evolution of the character.
Okay.
First, when the first Tomb Raider game came out, she was this woman with big breasts,
Right. Yes.
Polygon tits.
and then the second game, which I don't even know about, she was the same thing, and it continued on from there for a while. And then in the reboot, they beat the shit out of her, and
Mhm.
that's it.
Well, she is an amazing, badass female character. She absolutely is.
John,
Yeah.
you lied to me about the bush shaving.
Yeah, I looked it up. I was joking.
Damn it.
But
All I'm getting is pictures of archaeology. I don't like this.
Okay.
but in what am I thinking?
We've already derailed.
You're
but
talking
yeah,
about Laura.
I do think Lara Croft. I've actually been playing a little bit of the first Tomb Raider game. It was like a free game on the Xbox One in December, and I've been playing through it slowly, and I'm really enjoying the gameplay despite how terrible she gets treated. It's clear that as a player, your goal is to make her survive, and you turn her into this absolute badass.
Yes.
It's one of the few games where I've really felt like I'm empowered just by being this character and being put in this scenario.
That's interesting.
One of the cons I've heard about the new Tomb Raiders is like the cutscenes where she gets injured and you're just impaired, or not impaired. Like, I guess impaired could work. Like
She
you have
fucking walks it off, so it doesn't
I
matter.
think
no, she doesn't walk it off. You're like impaired for a bit, and then eventually you get better.
okay, so I think okay, so she gets in the more recent games, she gets the shit beat out of her, right?
Oh yeah. Oh,
So,
no doubt.
I
Oh,
think
what happened?
that's kind of partially because they want to be fair to women in the game industry. Is that right?
Men
Oh,
get
what?
their
There was a lot of outcry. There was a lot of outcry when there was a point in the first game where it was clear that a guy that captured her was intent on sexually
Oh, yeah,
assaulting her.
Yeah, Russian.
And then you break out of it anyway. But there was like a huge outcry about it, and they kept it in the game because it's like it's a moment in the game where you really overpower and prove that you're not a weakling. But it's
Yeah.
like people focused on that and stuff like that. I don't
Yeah,
know.
It's this
I
weird,
like it.
it's
I
this,
like it.
It's this
That's all I'm
weird dissonance you have where, on one hand, it's kind of morally wrong to use rape or things like that to develop a character, but at the same time, it's also incredibly wrong to turn a blind eye to it or pretend like women aren't threatened by that and women can't overcome that. So it's sexist both ways and it's not sexist both ways. I don't know what to do, man.
You're
Okay,
screwed
okay,
one
wait,
way,
wait.
screwed the other.
So
I'm gonna guess
you know
you
what
don't
this,
like the new Tomb Raider that much, Trevor.
I'm gonna make a
The
comparison.
gameplay is great though.
Oh yeah.
And this has less to do with Tomb Raider and more to do with the game industry as a whole.
Something that we clearly are very qualified to talk about.
Exactly. Well, we are the Biasholes.
We're an authority, guys. You're
Right.
Here
We're
first.
the law.
We are the law.
I
Okay.
am the one who knows.
I am not an assassin.
Okay,
You're the
so
potato.
These are
you
not the droids you are looking for.
you guys know that like feminism in the game industry has been kind of a point of
Oh yeah, Anita
I don't know.
Sarkeesian, great person, great points. Everything's fine.
It's basically a point of contest. Just because it's like you kind of have it several different ways and you don't know which one's the best one.
Okay, so the thing is, we have this problem in the game industry where people are disputing whether or not something is sexist.
Mm-hmm.
I
But
think
that,
we have that problem in general, though.
but that exists, like that backlash does not exist in like the book industry and the movie industry, nowhere else other than the game industry.
I would say the movie industry a bit
Yeah.
quite a bit, but a
okay,
bit
but
less.
You've seen it addressed in
Right.
Star Wars specifically.
Okay, not nearly as much as the game industry though.
Right, but that's
Right.
because I think games are such a more interactive medium, and there's also a lot more movies that are marketed towards women than there are games.
Is that
Yeah.
true?
No doubt, it's not just because they're an interactive medium. That is a great point, but it's also because games are really kind of the newest mainstream medium, you know, because books have been around forever, and then films have kind of developed a bit of a rich history of you know, the medium. Games are pretty new. You know what I mean? And so not only do you have the pressure of you have to make the story empowering to women, but you have to make the gameplay empowering to women, and you have to make the atmosphere empowering to women. And it's really strange how, you know, if you show, for example, Lara Croft facing adversity, she can be seen as a whiny priss, but you can also see her as a strong female character overcoming obstacles. So I think it is just because gaming is such a new and developing medium. Which is also why whenever we were kind of like, oh, we're such an authority, you know what I mean? Like,
We're not.
For the most part, people who review books at one point have tried writing a book, you know, or people who review films are at least familiar with the production and how a film is made.
Right.
Games are such a new medium that when people review them and critique them, like for sexism reasons or whatever, most people don't actually know how a game is developed because it's such a new medium.
Yeah, that's very true.
And so there's a lot of distance with that review and criticism.
Yeah. So you're saying it's a matter of perception?
Absolutely. It's also, I think it's a lot about intent, and it's sometimes hard to determine what a developer intent was. Playing through Tomb Raider, I solely believe that they wanted to make Lara Croft a badass female character. Now, whether or not they achieved, I have a few complaints about, but that's what I believe like they were willing to do. So in my opinion, it's not necessarily a sexist game. Like a lot of games that people do view to be sexist. I don't really view them as sexist because I don't think that's what the developer was solely intending.
All right. Well, fair enough. I can get behind what you're saying. I've never played the game, but
it's a good game mechanically. There's the background characters are pretty forgettable, but Lara Croft and the environment are amazing. The tombs are fun to explore, and I can't wait for the next Tomb Raider to make its release on PC so I can finally play it.
It sounds like you were paid to say that sentence. It really does.
Get your exclusive Tomb Raider copy and The Martian out on Blu-ray now. As well as Lego Hawkeye for
Lego Hawkeye, the best
for
Hawkeye.
the low price of just your soul.
Oh
Just
my
your soul.
Can we make a real quick plug, because this is something that I feel like I really like talking about.
Okay.
And I really think is
Okay,
important to the identity of the channel. Graham Cartness music.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
Sure.
that guy's awesome.
I have started using so much more of his music.
Oh yeah, I loved. I don't know how I came across it. I think it was that dumb Source Filmmaker channel that I
It
absolutely
is.
love.
It is. That is definitely it. That is. Yeah.
I came across his music that way, and I've been entranced with it, and it always struck me as like there's so much good stuff there. So I'm really, really glad that I emailed him, and that night, within 20 minutes, he had given us permission to use his full library as outro song, so long as we link to his Bandcamp and credit him.
He
Exactly.
is better than even better than Jake Kaufman, the guy who did the Shovel Knight soundtrack. Fight him, Jake Kaufman. I want to see you two duel, and I want to listen to both your music at the same time. Thank you.
Graham Cartner, I think, works as like a filmmaker somewhere up in Canada.
No way.
Because I had to pay him in Canadian money.
That is.
Dude, you had to pay him in
cool.
coons.
Yes.
In coons, in vagina. Yeah.
You were about to say
If you say children's vaginas, I'm going to.
I didn't say children's vaginas.
Where you
Nowhere in that sentence were children or vaginas involved. Well, okay, the second one was. The first one was definitely not involved.
Okay.
Okay, but yeah, I'm really glad that guy let us use his music so freely.
Cool guy, definitely a cool guy.
Yeah.
And I really do recommend that anybody who is interested in this channel and watches this channel not only watch to the end of our videos to hear his sultry, great tunes, but to also check out his Bandcamp and maybe find some stuff yourself and support him.
Yes.
On that note, I think we should
Hashtag ad.
conclude. It's been about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Sultry means hot or humid, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
This has been a hot topic conversation. I'll tell you guys, we have covered all the basics.
And then some.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be part of 50% of this podcast.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
Should we plug our email?
No.
Email.
What the fuck do you mean our email?
We're not gonna plug the fucking email. Just subscribe, and hopefully more stuff will
Jacob, what
come
email
out
do you-
soon.
That-
This is the Biasholes signing off.
Then complain to Skynet.